Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Is my boomstick!
Game over, man. It's game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He is your host, Ben Mason.
And he is your co-host, Sandra Luketic. And today we're talking 1983's Deathstalker. As always, we assume that if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie. And if you've already seen the movie, I am so sorry. So sorry. Sandra, this is not the movie I remember it being. I do have to admit, I do find some of this rather enjoyable, but this is not what I remember. So I'm going to ask, what is your history with this film?
I have no history with it.
I'm sorry.
I think back in the day, I saw like good bad flicks on it, maybe, and then completely forgot about it after that. So that's my history with them.
Yeah, it's there's 4 of them, so there was a sequel potential somewhere. Actually, I know exactly where, which we'll get into in a bit, and I find it absolutely stunning. But sword and sorcery films, Sandro, I've always really enjoyed them. And this one definitely was trying to cash in on Conan, which came out, I think, the year before. This is not Conan.
No. It's not.
I don't know what this is. Other than, yeah, exactly. There's a remake out this year, and there's no way it can be like this movie other than it's sword and sorcery, and there's a character named Deathstalker. Because there's so much in this film that is incredibly problematic that could definitely not be made 42 years later.
Problematic? Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So let's get into this, and we'll discuss our sentiments at the end.
Sounds good, man.
So we open with multiple bad guys stumbling through mist-filled caves. And right off the bat, this is some of the worst movie makeup I have ever seen. Are they supposed to be human? Some of them monsters, some of them wearing masks. Who knows?
All of the above.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, when the movie starts off and the first thing you think of is, what am I watching? It's not great. But they sneak up on a man and woman having been bound and on the ground. And the man's about to sexually assault her, but is chased by these things, one of which abducts the woman. See, originally I thought this guy was supposed to be our hero, and immediately you're like, oh, no, all these people are just horrible. I can't even say human beings. Who knows? But we get the entrance of Deathstalker, and let that fight begin. Any thoughts you have on this fight? Because I have a couple.
You go ahead, sir.
It's poorly choreographed. And I can say that because he legit boots a guy to the ground so hard. The guy doesn't have a chance to put his hand out to break the fall at all. And you can see the pain rise through his body. Other than that, it's your basic hack slash. It's not great by any means. And the editing in this movie is absolutely terrible. Let me say that right now. Because Stalker finishes off the last guy with a bow that he hasn't had this entire scene.
And he doesn't have again.
Nope. So I guess he got it from his horse? But I don't remember seeing it on the horse. Anyway. The whole thing, it's so bad. It's so confusing. Half the time I'm skipping back to see what I missed and then realizing that it's just not there. So he finishes off the human guy, and now it's his turn with the woman?
Yeah, I found this to be a bit of a theme throughout the movie, is that women being sexually assaulted is almost entirely determined based on if the person doing it is a good or bad person, despite the fact that all of them trying to do this should be deemed bad people.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just something that happens all the time. It has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. It's just to get TNA in a movie, but it's through violent action, which just makes you incredibly uncomfortable while watching it. And they just hit you with it again and again and again.
You know, you could easily do this exact same portion, but have it where he's not coming on to her. She's just really attracted to him for saving her. You know, I think it's called willing consent.
But the old man, this old man just interrupts. He shows up, and our hero just tells him to go wait outside, despite the fact that they're already outside.
Yeah, I thought that too.
And as he's talking, the girl runs away.
Which makes me think she wasn't a willing participant.
Exactly. What an odd opening to this movie.
And you're supposed to like this guy. Just to anybody watching, just so you know, this is supposed to be your hero.
Yeah, he is definitely the hero of the film, but I have to argue, I don't think you're supposed to like him. He doesn't do anything to make you like him. He's just on screen more often than not. So he encounters a king in a tent encampment and immediately insults him. More reason to like our protagonist, I guess. He is dumb like Conan, though. I'll have to say that. He's not. What I'm saying here it is a failed joke. Conan's not dumb. He's constantly learning. This guy doesn't learn a thing. Anything.
He learns how to get his.
Yeah, sure. So, since he can't string a sentence together properly, the king gives us the exposition about how Lord Munkar was his magician, but somehow overthrew him and took his castle. And okay, sure, that's classic fantasy for me. I have to say the name Munkar is one I could not remember as I was doing notes. It's like Mercan, Mancur, Moncor. It's just a horrible name. And it's so clunky that when anybody says it in the movie, it sounds like a joke. Now, as you can tell, we're off to a solid start here.
Oh, it's going so good. So good.
And you know what goes with this great storytelling? Great music. Don't have that here either.
I was going to say, the sound design was not good. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The back and forth between the king and Stalker, absolutely hilarious. Like the king saying that like one man can sneak inside the castle, and he says you would need a fool, to which the king replies, no, a hero. And Stalker, I don't think he even understands he's insulting himself here. It says heroes and fools are the same thing. Like, yeah, looks like it. So I ask you now, is this intentionally funny? Or do you think whoever wrote this thought like this is going to be epic?
I don't think there's any way to answer that question, because I kind of want to say yes and no.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's intentionally campy or not. Anyway, cut to the castle where Munkar taunts the king's daughter and again shows us even more that this movie hates women. As there are naked women everywhere, in a pool, in cages, depressingly strewn about a room. And that's the entirety of that scene. Because we cut back to the forest, to General Kang and his men on horseback dragging a man behind them. Don't know anything about who this man is. But do you see what happens when he hit this tree?
The tree like shatters.
The tree explodes.
But how fast is this thing going?
And he hits it with his face. It's okay. I am right, though. They don't give us any explanation as to who this man is or was, right?
I'm going to guess just to show how, like, relentless and merciless this kingdom is, that this guy is like some sort of, thief or something, and this is his punishment.
Yeah, because once he hits the tree, he becomes dislodged from the rope with the horse, and they don't stop to really look back so much. They just kind of keep going.
I don't know. If a guy can break a tree like that, I'd keep him around.
Yeah. For a while, I thought he might be the guy we see later on in the castle who's missing an eye. Or is that somebody else that I just missed?
You know what? Might be the same actor. but I don't think it's supposed to be the same guy.
Oh, right, because I think he feeds his eye to the puppet he has in a chest on his desk.
Which never comes back again.
No.
Like,
wait, that or the puppet? Because we see the puppet again, and it's hilarious.
well, like the thing in the chest or whatever, like
yeah.
You think it's going to be set up where like, oh, maybe later they'll put like a gem or a desirable item in front of this chest, and it's a mimic, and the hero is not expecting it, and then the hand reaches it. No,
nothing. No. So Kang and his men approach a hut, and Kang demands the sword. Then we get the witch. We continue the horrible makeup in this movie, which immediately now makes me think what the budget was. And I'll have to say, when we talk about it, I was actually amazed.
Really?
Yeah. But not as amazed as the stick turning into a snake trick.
Now it's a classic Dungeons and Dragons spell, sticks to snakes.
Did you pay attention to this scene? Specifically, the next two shots. It's okay to say no.
Leading me to, I mean, I was paying attention to it. I think I was more focused on how the snake didn't look like it was at all attacking this guy, and he was just holding it in front of him. But you got to be more specific here. What are you looking for?
Yeah, exactly. No, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Because she's got this fucking stick, right? And she just mutters these words, and it looks like you'd wrap the snake around him, but she gingerly puts the snake in his hands, and he kind of tries not to look like he's wrapping it around himself, which he very clearly is. And then he's pretending like he's choking, but it's not even around his neck. So he's just holding the snake against his face and shoulders. And it is just so bad. If the snake was around his neck, I'd say he was doing some great acting, but I feel like he was terrified of the snake. Anyway, Deathstalker rushes in and kills Kang's men. We get, during this, a whole weird close-up of a horse dick. And then Kang turns into a bird, grabs an amulet, and flies off. Can you please explain to anybody listening, and if you're still listening, you're troopers, care to explain what Kang needs?
What do you mean what he needs? He needs the amulet. The amulet is power. And
he's got the amulet.
Yeah.
He's trying to find the sword. So the amulet's like life, the sword is who cares, the chalice is magic, kind of, as we find out later. It doesn't really do anything. And these are the three powers of creation somehow.
Yeah, and if you get all three, then you become the power.
Yes. Definitely not a He-Man reference whatsoever.
They say that multiple times in the movie too, and it's just like, come on. And I gotta say, I love how, turns into a bird to escape the terrible clutches of this snake, whatever, right? But did you notice when the bird is flying away, it's just a stock shot of a bird flying away, and they put the worst solar flare into the shot, just superimposed it over it to make it look like this bird is holding the amulet. It is hilarious.
I missed that altogether. I feel terrible now.
Oh, don't feel bad.
All right. With the He-Man vibes in tow now, our witch sends off Stalker to find the sword. I do have to say, I laughed out loud when he stops by the river to get a drink of water, and the witch's face appears in the water and tells him your thirst should only be for the sword. We're no, I think he needs water to stay alive. And you know where the sword is. It's not going anywhere. So he's going to get it. Let the man drink some water.
From a filmmaking standpoint, is this necessary? Do they expect the audience to have forgotten the conversation he had with the witch 30 seconds ago?
I think so. This is such a mess. This entire movie. So I would love to see a better put together version of this movie. It still wouldn't be good. It would be absolutely terrible. But I think it might make more sense if you shift certain things. Anyway, it's time to crawl into a cave, and we meet Sammaron, who has the sword, because we know he does, because she told us he does. Hence, I don't understand the hurry. But we get this giant fight or ogre fight. I don't know what the hell this thing is, man. What is happening?
I'm gonna say that this is maybe the sword's guardian or protector, because otherwise it would be really easy for somebody to get this sword because it's just loosely in a cave.
Exactly. And I don't know how this happens, but as he's like, before he gets to that fight, he's crawling through this tiny opening into the cave, right? And he's just collecting sticks. And then it cuts to another shot of the cave, and then back to him where he's blowing on the sticks, which are on fire now. Don't see that happening at all. We do get to see the puppet, though, of Samaron. What's your take on that look?
Oh, it's terrible.
It is, but I really enjoy it.
Oh, come on.
It's great. I also love how he's just like a smart ass too. But it's kind of like a third-rate Luke and Yoda moment. But if Yoda was more comedic relief. And the story behind him makes no sense to me. He was once human, but cursed by Munkar. I don't know how he ended up in the cave with the sword. I don't know how he throws the sword to Stalker, who then defeats the ogre.
How does he defeat the ogre, Ben?
He cuts his chains and the ogre runs away.
Yeah, if you can tell they're chains. Like, the shot almost looks like he's cutting the ornamental skulls off of his belt.
Well, that's what he's doing, yeah. And he's not even hacking at them. He's lightly tapping them, and it breaks. And
then after that, the ogre, I say this very loosely, lunges at him.
Yeah.
And he essentially is just like, no, and butts him in the stomach with the hilt, and then the thing just runs away. Like, what just happened there?
And now you've got an ogre running around the countryside. He could have stabbed him easily. The thing cuts chains, man. And just by tapping them. He should just touch the sword to him and it would have like exploded or something. I don't know. And what is up with this curse? This Munkar curse on Samaron. He can only be taken out of the cave by a boy who is not a boy. Just curse him to the cave forever. Why is there a stipulation? And how does this transformation work? Because like you'd think, okay, if he transforms Stalker into a young boy, he's just a young boy wearing Stalker's clothes. But everything transforms. He's wearing completely different clothing that fits, by the way. And it all happens so quickly. As soon as he changes him into a boy, they just kind of hold hands and walk out of the cave. And that's all he had to do to get him out of there and break the curse. This is some in-depth storytelling, Sandro.
Why did it turn him into a boy?
Because it can only be taken out of the cave by a boy who's not a boy. And the look on Stalker's face is like, that makes sense.
And not just a boy who's not a boy who's not a boy with the sword. But it feels like the sword can only be wielded by the one of destiny, which I'm putting my own words in here. So it's like, so the curse can only be broken by Stalker as a child?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to try and make sense of this. This is bullshit, man.
Hey, you picked this movie.
I know. I'm sorry. How many times do I apologize?
We never did play our game.
That's fine. We'll get to it. Because I think there's only one person, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we cut to Marty Jannetty lookalike Ogress.
Oh, he does look like Jannetty. Oh, man. Somebody should have thrown him through a barbershop window.
Yeah, this gets a super kick through the glass. So, yeah, this is Richard Brooker, who, this is your game guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew the name from Friday the 13th 3D. He played Jason.
Yep, that's the end of the game.
One of the best Jasons of all time.
How do you determine who's the best Jason? They lumber around better than the other ones?
Well, the thing is, no. Kane lumbers around better than everyone else. But I found Brooker to be much more physically intimidating. When you just see him from a distance, he's standing there, you're like, I do not want to be any closer to this person. because he looks absolutely terrifying.
I think you can take.
Yeah. Maybe now. So Ogress tries to stop a group of thieves from what? Raping a woman, because that's a theme of the movie.
This is a real problem in their time. Like, This must be the top crime in all the land.
It has to be, because it's happening everywhere.
Again, like I said, by good and bad people alike.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It just happens. If there's a woman there, guess what's going to happen?
I'm sorry. I know we talk about this stuff a lot and we say, it's a product of its time, it's antiquated. I can't imagine a female ever liking this movie.
There's no reason to. There's no reason for anybody to like this movie. Like Basement Dwellers, I guess, in the 80s, but that's it. So he almost dies, but Stalker is there to rescue him. I have to admit the Ogress sword fight here is actually pretty entertaining. He actually looks like he knows what he's doing, but of course he does because he's a stuntman. Except
for, and I've mentioned this already, the sound design is terrible. I don't think I've ever heard a worse attempt at the sound of two swords clashing.
Oh, no. No, and later on, the fight between Ogress and Stalker, every single punch sounds like a slap. Every knee to the face sounds like a slap. And then there's one part where it just sounds like people are breaking boxes. Anyway.
How many sound effects we got? 2. Well, you better make good with them.
I love the last kill here, where the guy's just running away and Ogress casually kicks his foot, making him trip over himself, and then just runs him through with the sword while he's on the ground.
But we don't see it, right?
No, of course not.
I think effects-wise is probably the best-looking kill, because there's one where Deathstalker, stabs a guy, and then they want to try and show, the blood squirting onto the sword.
Oh, my God.
And it's has anybody that's worked on this movie seen blood before? It's not supposed to be, translucent and almost fluorescent. This is... Even for the 83, I don't know, man.
Dude, and this is in this fight scene where that happens. Because he, stabs the guy behind him with the sword. And you don't, when you see the blood gushing, it's just gushing over the sword. You don't even see the sword in the guy.
Yeah, no.
It's just a close-up of the blade. So now the three of them set out to the castle. And one of my biggest pet peeves in movies that have lower budgets are when, you can tell they do. The movie feels so small, but it touts itself as being so much larger. This is the greatest warrior tournament of them all that they're heading to. That's very doubtful to me.
I also like how in this world of crime and rape, they become friends so quickly. Oh, they were trying to kill you? All right, you're with me now.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I owe you my life. I guess.
Sure. My next 2 notes, Sandro. That night, they encounter Kyra. What are you doing, movie? Because can you explain Kyra?
Well, she's a female warrior who is just as tough and brave as the males, who... Well, I mean, I can't blame her for being skeptical. She sees men out in the wild. They're probably going to try to rape her. So she has to kind of make the first move and defend herself. But, at first, it's a bit of a misdirect. She's wearing a hood, and we're not supposed to know it's a female. And they're surprised that she fights so well. And then they hit on her.
Because she's wearing a cape and a G-string, and that's it.
Okay, what's with this top? It's literally just an X of fabric across her torso that covers nothing.
Nothing.
And then later, when she has a wardrobe change, it's like they just glued a couple pasties to this.
That's exactly it.
So bad.
I know. The next note just says, I really hate our hero. Because immediately, she's out cold, sleeping. And he's like, well, now's my opportunity.
Well, she can't say no if she's asleep.
But
that's all.
She wakes up and I guess is into it. And Cimarron's just extremely uncomfortable because he's right there.
He seems to, towards the end of it, enjoy himself before they're done.
He laughs and then goes to sleep.
Yeah, he's just like, well, yeah, I guess that's a thing that's happening. I'm okay with it. Yeah. But hey, Ben, you just bore witness to the closest thing to consent we'll see in this movie.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But back at the castle, the locked up women are fed. And this is definitely not a way for the king's daughter to make friends. Because they're just given a giant basket of food and everyone just rushes in and grabs what they want. And she just stands there waiting. And then there's no food left. And for some reason, she's surprised and asking, where's mine? And then just rips like a drumstick away from someone. Then we just cut back to the campfire.
What was the point of that scene?
What was the point of that scene exactly? And this here right next is the campfire sex scene. So we go to the next day at the castle village or whatever. This movie is way too much nudity. There's just naked people everywhere.
I stopped counting. I was 31 minutes in and there was 11 breasts. And I just gave up counting.
Well, we get mud wrestling. There's sexual assault everywhere. Acrobats for some reason. Ogress, he's just having a blast, laughing his head off. I thought it was a man in a pig mask, but apparently it's just a man with a pig head who is eating a severed pig's head. And then, yeah, we see Kyra's covered up somewhat, like you were saying. There's so much in this. Go ahead, man. This is frustrating.
This scene really confused me because, you see that it's our travelers, our heroes, our party of good people, right? And they enter this bar and I'm thinking, okay, this is where the good people reside. This is not out in the wilderness where everybody gets raped. And then we find, nope, these are good people also trying to rape women. Like, Orgerus just walks in and grabs a woman.
Yeah, let's clarify here. There are no good people in this movie.
No.
There are no good men. No good men in this movie, I'll say.
When I say good versus evil, I'm just referring to, like, the parties involved in the movie that are contending with one another. There's just evil different... and more evil.
Yeah, it's just different degrees of evil.
Yeah.
So much of this movie is completely pointless. And the worst part is that it's only 80 minutes long. Like, there's no... Like, I want to say there's no room for filler, but that's what this entire film is.
Oh, there's so much filler. There's so many scenes where it's like Deathstalker. I keep forgetting his name. It's the title of the movie. Where he's just walking. And they're like, all right, let's extend this walk for a minute and a half. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's 80 minutes and you have like 20 minutes of filler shots.
I think there's only 20 minutes of story. This is a solid 60 minutes of filler and assault. So,
yeah.
Munkar addresses the crowd of warriors. And I guess the point of the tournament is to see who will take over the kingdom. And he unveils his newest bride, the king's daughter. Officer up and Pigman obliges. And then we get a full-on Donnybrook for some reason. It's just a madhouse. Deathstalker decides to free the woman, which took him forever to figure out that's what he was going to do. Because he's mainly just... I don't know. He's just, for most of the time, he's just watching. And he's I guess I'll do this.
No problem with women getting sexually assaulted and doing it himself. And then in this one situation, he's like, you know what? I should have a moral compass somewhat. And even then, when he grabs her, he's like, gonna take her up to his quarters. I don't feel safe for her, even if he does get out of there.
Dude, we're 30 minutes into this movie, and he's already pushed himself on 3 women.
And I find it interesting that, like, Ogress says to Deathstalker when they're headed to town for the tournament, oh, it's to determine his heir. And right there, right at the beginning, Stalker's like, how do you have an heir if you live forever?
I was curious about that too.
And he's the only one that questions it. And then later we find out that is his plan. He doesn't actually intend to give anybody anything. He just wants them to thin themselves out so there's no one to oppose him.
Exactly. Which is, I kind of like that plan. But he knows he's fucked up immediately when he saves the princess. So we just let the fight continue then. Why is Ogress swinging around the room? I don't know. He could have ran to where he was going 3 times faster. Pigman rips off a guy's arm and just beats someone else with it.
I mean, how do you not like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. Munkar feeds fingers to his puppet and laughs maniacally, but immediately stops when interrupted, and he looks so embarrassed. So, okay. Let me stop here for a second and ask you, what do we think about Munkar as a villain?
I don't find him imposing or threatening at all, but he kind of fits with everybody else, because I don't find the heroes very heroic or threatening either.
No, he is definitely not a threat at all. As we see later on, he can't do anything. I don't know why, if he can curse Samaron to be this little monster in a cave, why then he can only do illusions after that. But sure. So his actual plan, like you said, at the end of the tournament, he'll kill the winner, leaving no warriors capable of overthrowing him. So he sends his henchmen to kill Stalker, disguised as the princess. And thoughts on this transformation? Because it's a weird one.
It might be one of the better parts of the movie, because it made me chuckle when he grabbed for his crotch and realized his penis wasn't there.
Yeah. He just screams, "It's gone!"
Yeah. It's like, hey, you get points for at least being an entertaining part of it, I guess.
It's probably the funniest part of the movie. The princess, quote, princess, sneaks into Stalker's room, and he somehow senses she's about to stab him from behind and stops her, sure, and then forces himself on her.
Well, you gotta punish the attempted murderer with
exactly
rape, because that's all they do in this movie.
And the thing is, she tried to kill him. He tries to rape her. When he realizes she isn't the princess, he just tells her to get out.
Yeah, no need for further questioning here. There's a shapeshifter in my room trying to kill me. I can't rape her.
I can't have sex with her?
All right, get out of here. This is not worth my time. What?
Yeah. This is where the princess runs into Kyra and changes back, and we get a topless sword fight. And I was actually quite surprised that they both die. I kind of felt you'd keep Kyra around for the entire film.
No, you couldn't do that.
So it's time for the tournament. And Munkar is surprised to see Stalker. Can I ask you why?
Because he assumed that the one person would be able to take out this biggest threat in the tournament.
So, yes, he assumed that the hit went through properly, even though the person he sent did not come back and state that Stalker was dead.
Yeah.
We get a montage of tournament battles. Do any of these stand out to you?
Not even a little bit.
There was one I really dug.
Okay.
And that was the guy with the hammer. Because at one point, he just, keeps hitting a guy in the head on the ground with the hammer. And he pulls the hammer back, and it just has jelly on it. And he shows it to, the higher-ups, and everyone's applauding. And then it shows where the guy was, and it's just blood and armor. There's no bones, no gore, no viscera, nothing. It's just a pool of blood.
Oh, I should say, I did appreciate the one where the guy had the upper hand, but then gets stabbed in the side because he takes some time to dap up the women.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Ogress's turn. And the blood from the hammer guy, that's just gone. That never happened. So he slashes his opponent's calf, who drops to the ground and clutches his thigh for some reason. But yeah, he obviously wins that fight. And that night, he gets thrown in the dungeon. Why?
I'm still trying to figure that out. So, in this dungeon scene, he gets confronted and essentially is agreed. I don't know what word to use here, but he does agree to go and kill Deathstalker, right?
Yeah.
But when they just let him off the torture device, I spent the whole time thinking, was he evil from the start? Because he says, you can't do this to the guy that brought you Deathstalker. But I'm wondering, was that the plan? Or is this just what he's saying to barter for his life? Was he always bad? Is he turning bad? I don't know right now.
He was always bad. Because I think he states it as a fact. Not asking, why would you do this? He's like, I brought you Deathstalker. And I was like, oh, so it wasn't really a chance encounter. which makes no sense because Deathstalker happened upon him.
Yeah, this must have been very well planned out, because if Deathstalker didn't show up, the second he did, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
Like, he was just about to get killed by those rapists. And he even says, damn, when Deathstalker then shows up to save the day.
Yep. Yeah, makes no sense. Kind of like the scene where Salmarin, sorry, I forget his name all the time too. These names are awful. He falls from the tower and into the pool surrounded by women.
That pool is not deep enough.
It's got maybe a foot of water in it.
He should have died on impact anyway.
It'd just be mush. The comedy in this movie makes no sense, because that's the only point for that scene. Because then he just stays there until the end.
Yeah, he was, running for his life, I think is fair to say, when he fell down that tower. And then he sees all the women, and it's just like, all right, smile. Nothing else mattered. And he's just like, I always wanted to be here. All right.
I'm going to ask you, what do you think is the most important or most epic fight of the movie?
Maybe Deathstalker versus Pigman?
Is it?
I mean, I said maybe. I don't know.
I would say Stalker and Ogress, but really it should be Stalker and Munkar. But I don't know. I can't tell you. None of these seem overly important.
Him and Ogress are just like fist fighting in the bed. I don't know.
They're fighting like brothers, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of got that vibe from them, like they felt like brothers who weren't actually brothers, because they're like slap punching and rolling over shit and just roughhousing, it seems. But the way Stalker wins the fight, I found, and no pun intended here, to be a bit overkill, because he gets him in the sleeper hold and then breaks his neck, but then he breaks his neck again and then breaks his neck again.
And the woman that was previously being sexually assaulted by Ogress is just watching this happen and has a look of disgust on her face because, she's never seen bad times in this world.
And then leaves.
Yeah.
Okay. My next problem with this movie is possibly one of the largest for me.
Okay.
For when it comes to, like, functioning plot. So the next day, the tournament continues with the final fight, which is Pigman and Stalker. And I find it very interesting because neither has fought yet. So how did they make it to the end?
Well, they did. We just didn't see it because in the montage, their fights weren't that important.
Yeah, so we don't see our hero fight the tournament at all.
Yeah.
But one of them shouldn't be there because Ogress won and Stalker killed him. So that would have left 3. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just works to get the story moving. But if you actually try and explain what happened here, you're lost.
Yeah, this is what's wrong with the story.
Yeah, this one thing.
Where did that third competitor go? That's your big issue?
Yeah. Any thoughts on the fight other than it's clear that no punch actually lands?
Oh, no. It continued with the bad sound design.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad because I think that's what stands out the most to me about all the fight scenes throughout the entirety of the movie is afterwards I'm like, man, was the sound terrible for all of it.
All of it. Absolutely all of it. But yeah, Stalker wins the fight. Everyone cheers him, in my mind, not knowing who he is or having ever seen him fight before. And that night, Munkar sends his troops to kill Stalker. And I find it very confusing that the first thing they decide to do is attack the women, which have nothing to do with him whatsoever.
Well, you see, the women are just used as bait in this world. They don't need them anymore.
One of the women brings in a warrior who is in the tournament, and he fights on their behalf. But he was in the tournament, so he should be dead.
Well, there you go. There's the third guy.
That would be the fourth guy. What happened here?
Well, they were supposed to have semifinals with the 4 of them, but Ogress is dead. This guy's in the brothel, so they were just like, I guess we're just down to the final 2.
Sure. Stalker kills Kang and gets the amulet in a very anticlimactic fight. And this has possibly the worst decapitation scene in the movie, of which there are quite a few. Did you notice how Kang was decapitated?
You know I'm not going to be able to answer that. I never know what you're referring to.
Stalker hits Kang in the face with his sword, and it rips his head off. Like the decapitation, the cut is at his neck. It's in the same shot. The sword hits the face and the neck cuts.
Yeah. Well, he was clearly using the Force, which he somehow managed to...
You know what? I'll believe that.
Well, there is the one scene where he loses his sword and he just, like, pulls it to him with the Force.
Yeah, because the sword can just fly now. Don't need to explain that one.
Yeah, so it can use the Force to decapitate people.
Could you imagine?
I can't.
He wins the tournament just by forced decapitation of everybody he's up against.
Yeah.
If I were Munkar, I'm like, all I can do is illusions. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Well, it's not like Munkar did anything of note in this movie, really. He set up the tournament.
Yeah. And this is where Stalker confronts Munkar, who, like we brought up before, keeps saying things like, all the power comes through me. But he only has one of the three pieces. He's got the chalice. And then we get the classic House of Mirrors style duplicate scene, which I've hated every time I've encountered it in a film. He's using his magic. The witch shows up for a pep talk, allowing him to clear his mind. Awful. Absolutely awful.
Like shows up and she's like, don't let illusion be your downfall or something. I don't even know what stupid things she says. And then he just like looks at his hand and the wound's gone and all of the illusions have disappeared. And it's like, why? Why did any of that happen that way?
And like Munkar, first of all, I don't even know what this relationship is between Stalker and the witch. Because they don't tell us that at all. We just have to assume that there's something there. But as Munkar, if you're there, if you're standing there and you're trying to use the magic of illusion on this insane warrior, and a witch shows up out of nowhere saying it's only illusion, don't let it cloud your mind. And the first thing you do after that is try to use an illusion, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
he just creates a bunch of fire.
It's so problematic. I don't even know what to say.
Stalker just walks through it. As we know he's going to, because everybody there saw and heard the witch say, don't believe it. So he just doesn't believe it. Shocker, it works. He takes the chalice from Munkar and pushes him into the crowd where he's drawn and quartered, which was fine. He just explodes when those horses do their thing. But then Stalker rejects the power of the three items and destroys them, despite getting the power being his goal for the entire film and having no reason to give that up.
Well, and then he doesn't want to be a king because they don't have freedom, and the power would make him have to rule. He wants his freedom.
Sure. Whatever. We get a freeze frame, roll credits, end of movie.
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh my God. I don't even know.
Oh.
I was so excited to watch this movie, Sandro.
Why?
Because I remember, like, I like sword and sorcery films, right? I don't remember any of this happening. And I like audibly as I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, let's go. Oh. This is not what I remember. So yeah, let's get into numbers then.
Okay.
And maybe that will explain something. What do you think the budget of the movie was?
$500,000.
Yeah, just about. Less than is $457,000.
I mean, that's got to be the only draw of creating this movie, right? Like,
that's Roger Corman for you, man. He knew how to make movies with next to nothing.
Yeah, let's make a movie for nothing, not put any effort into it, and hope that it just makes money from quantity, not quality.
Okay, well, on that, how much did this make?
I mean, the thing about it is they strategically release these things around other movies of the type. So it's like, oh, we bring this out when Conan comes out, and everybody's like all crazy about Conan, and they'll think, hey, this must be like another alternative, and it's got to be good. So, there was no internet in 1983. Don't watch this movie; it's terrible.
Yeah, and the poster is amazing.
I'm gonna say 3 million.
11.9.
Oh!
No wonder this movie has 3 sequels. And now a remake coming out this year. It's, yeah.
This should not have a remake.
The remake looks really good. And it's 100% making fun of the original.
But don't associate it with the original. Just make a new... We need a good sword and sorcery movie. Just make a new one. You don't need to call it Deathstalker. The name will not help in this situation.
Well, this movie's a cult classic, man. So yeah, it definitely will. This movie, I looked into, is notorious for being like one of the best, worst movies ever made because it is absolutely atrocious. But it's hilariously bad when you can look past, everything. What do you think the ratings are, though, if we go to IMDb out of 10?
Cult classic 4.
4.6.
That's a little bit higher than,
It makes sense.
Sure.
As far as Rotten Tomatoes, percentage of positive reviews from the critics for the tomato meter. Now, this is a trick one. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Because you need at least 5 reviews from critics for it to have a score, and there's only 1 review on there. So there's nothing.
All right, then.
But the critics' review, I think you'll agree with this. Bare breasts and brutal violence always seem to present themselves just when audiences might start to focus on the more nonsensical bits.
Yeah, I didn't really think about the pacing for breasts to terrible plot points, but I'm sure it's up there.
Yeah. Popcorn meter, though, for the audience.
I mean, if it's a cult classic, which I will take your word for, 61.
26.
And I'm supposed to believe this is a cult classic.
Oh, it is. Come on, man. There's 5 movies now.
Okay. All right.
I'm very excited for awards here.
All right. So who did you have for your least favorite character?
I mean, if you could pick everyone, it would be almost everyone.
No, you can pick one person. One person.
I picked Stalker.
Richard Hill?
Yeah. Rick Hill had nothing to work with here. I mean, he's not even an actor. But the character is so detestable. He's our hero, right? We're supposed to cheer for him. He's our champion. They don't even give us a character. We know nothing about his past. We're just told this is the guy you're going to root for. And then you see him do all of these heinous things. And we're still supposed to root for him. No, of course I'm not going to do that. He's absolutely terrible. At least Munkar, whatever the hell his name is, was hilarious in that he was such an ineffective villain. Everybody, there was something you laugh about, like the puppet I said at the beginning. Like I would pick him, but he's not in the movie enough as my favorite character. Sorry, but like there's so many people to pick as least favorite, but I think Stalker is head and shoulders above the rest of the cast. Who did you have for least favorite?
I also picked Stalker. He is awful. And I don't want to harp on the performance too much either because a lot of it is the character work. Mm-hmm. But there needs to be a bit of blame to go around to the performance and the direction as well. Because even in like the early Conan stuff, when he's not necessarily the most good, not nearly as bad as this person, what carries it through with his like ignorance is also the charisma. He is a very charming character. He's very appealing. This guy just delivers everything so one note that there's really nothing to like about this character. You can't even say like, oh well, at least he's a very charismatic person. You can see why people follow him. Like there's nothing at all. And I don't want to blame the actor for that because some part of the direction should have said, hey, let's add some emotion here. Let's add some inflection. let's do something with a little bit of depth, but it's not there.
No, it's not. So I'm curious to hear who your favorite character is.
I went with Ogress, Richard Brooker, and I don't want to say I like the character either because they're all scumbags. Mm-hmm. But, you know, as much as it makes no sense, I do think of him and I think of like him swinging on that chandelier in the like bar fight to just, for no reason at all, to like, it doesn't even use the momentum, but to just like drop and attack another guy. It's like, oh, okay, he's kind of fun. He seems to know what's going on. Like, this guy had a little bit of that charm and charisma that I was talking about, but still on an awful character, right? I would have been a little bit more easy to believe him as the hero because, again, at least there was some charm there. He actually had a smile and a frown and some different levels of emotion.
I also picked Ogress as my favorite because for those very reasons. He had character development. There were twists with his character. He has that charm, like you said. Like you laugh along with him. He takes things seriously when he should, and he's joking when he should, and sometimes when he shouldn't. But he's also, like, Richard Brooker is a stuntman, so he can pull off these things that Rick Hill can't, or anybody else can't. And he just commands your attention. And this was a horrible miscasting, because he really should have played the hero. Now, as you said as well, there is no actual hero in this movie because they're all horrible people. We're just told who the protagonist is. And I don't even know if you can call him a protagonist. Yeah, it's really conflicting that your favorite character is a straight up piece of shit. But they don't really give us much to work with here.
But who's likable? Like,
exactly.
Who? The only reason that we are, air quotes, rooting on Deathstalker is because he's the title character that the movie is following. Nothing about his actions or his personality. It's more the witch telling us you're the one who needs to go get the power that makes you think, yeah, okay, this is the protagonist.
Yeah, and even Rick Hill, he's Stalker in this movie. He kills the ruler of the kingdom, destroys those 3 pieces of power. The king's living in a camp out in the woods. Obviously, people aren't rooting for him to come back. So now he's just created this vicious power vacuum in a kingdom without a ruler. So in doing so, he's basically condemned so many more people to die.
Yeah. Good guy.
Memorable lines. I found that very difficult.
Yeah, it was pretty tough.
Because in my opinion, there aren't any memorable lines. So I went with one that made me laugh. And that is Stalker telling the witch, "Don't talk to me in riddles." And I'm thinking, yeah, because you don't even understand regular conversation. It's so bad. The writing is terrible. It's not even writing. I would much prefer to believe that a lot of this was improvised, but I don't know.
They're ad-libbing the whole time.
What did you think? What was your most memorable line?
So when our noble hero at the beginning of the movie is trying to establish himself as the hero, he's mocking this king. And he even says, if you were any more poorer, you'd be eating that dog. And then the king says, like the dog you're eating? And I'm just like, I mean, it just looked like Stalker was eating meat. But I was like, hey, here's a line that made me think for a minute.
Only thing in the movie that would make you think for a minute.
That's all I could get.
That's awful. What about a memorable scene?
I went with the pig man, kind of hesitantly eyeing up the head of the pig before then just like practically shrugging and just eating it anyway.
Yeah, I went with the same thing. There were a few, I don't even know it's memorable, but laugh-worthy scenes. It was up in the air for me between that at the dinner or the Ogress Stalker slap fight, because it was absolutely ridiculous.
I hated the slap fight.
It's just so bad, and it's supposed to mean so much.
Yeah, like, you can say what you want about these guys as actors and so forth, but they're both in phenomenal shape. right?
Oh, yeah.
So when you see them, you're thinking, okay, at the very least, I should be able to see some good action scenes. Hey, they're not the best with swords. The special effects aren't there. They should at least be able to do a convincing fist fight. No.
But it's the end of it, too, that almost had it win for me. Like the breaking of the neck 3 times. Because he does that. He like breaks Ogress's neck. And I was like, yeah, that's... Oh, again? Oh, my God, again.
Well, there's a lot of bones in the neck to break, you know? You can't just stop at one.
I've never seen that before, though. It's pretty inventive.
This might be the one moment of maybe we'll say a little bit of character development, because Stalker is such a loner, and he shows like the slightest amount of remorse and regret for snapping his one friend's neck.
Yeah.
He still does it. It doesn't bother him, but you know, he thought about it, and that's growth.
Yeah, sure. Can you imagine? Snap. Oh, I feel terrible about it. Snap. All right, I feel a little bit less terrible. Snap. All right, let's go.
It's like bubble wrap. The more you go, the happier you get.
I guess, yeah. Oh, God.
All right, so that's the awards. What are your closing thoughts on Deathstalker?
Don't watch it. It's you feel bad. It's a sword and sorcery movie. You're supposed to enjoy it, have fun on this adventure, but it's really just mean from start to finish. There is nobody to root for. There's nobody you would even want to root for. The villains are weak. The heroes are weak. The comedy falls flat. The music's terrible. It's not even filmed well. I'm definitely not going to recommend this unless you want to watch an all-out terrible movie that fails in almost every attempt it makes. And I don't even know how it has more than a 0 rating on any rating site whatsoever. I mean, Brooker, I will say, we already talked about it. Brooker does give a little bit of levity to the film, but not enough to save it. It is just a hard not recommend. Now, having said that, it is so bad, I kind of want to watch the sequel, like just Deathstalker 2, to see if it got any worse or if they actually took the property and tried to do something better with it. But no, like, avoid this movie at all costs. What are your thoughts? I assume similar?
Yes and no. It is very difficult for me to evaluate because it is a terrible movie with no redeeming features. All of the people involved in the movie are horrible people, and all of the people in the movie are terrible, even worse people. But there's a part of me in the back of my mind that's thinking, if I didn't watch this by myself, but with a group of my friends, there would be so much material to just rip into this thing nonstop that I feel like I'd be laughing at this movie the whole time for all the wrong reasons.
See this being a group watch, but you'd be enjoying it because of your friends' reactions, not because of what's on screen.
Yes, and we've talked about this many times before. The feelings towards a movie can very much change with if you watch it by yourself or with other people. And by no means would it change my opinion of the movie. It would still be trash with horrible people. But I think the viewing experience might have been fun just ripping into it with friends. That said, the individual solo viewing of it was so terrible that I wouldn't want to risk watching it again with friends to see if I would discover any enjoyment out of it in that regard.
This really would have been a great movie for us to do a commentary track to on first watch.
Yeah, I the whole time there was just non-stop, like, just commentary and insults towards everything they were doing. Like, just go, when we're done, don't watch the movie again, but just go back and look at when they try to make it look like the Hawk or whatever flight Falcon is holding the amulet, and you'll laugh. It's so bad, you can't help but not laugh at it. And it's things like that that make me think, oh, it could be kind of fun if you were watching it with friends. So I'll say this, don't watch the movie. I don't recommend it, but if you are inclined to watch this movie, and nothing I say will, watch it with some like-minded friends to see if you can get some enjoyment out of making fun.
Fair.
All right. So that's our thoughts on Deathstalker. If you'd like to share your thoughts with us, you can hit us up on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook /BSBargainBin, and of course the YouTube comments. You can leave whatever thoughts you have on this movie. Maybe you liked it and you'd like to tell us how we're wrong. I doubt it, but we're here to listen. Ben.
Yo.
What are we doing next week, man?
It's a very different change of tone. I just need to get as far away from this as possible. So, I watched this recently, not for the first time. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it is a horror film this time, and it has caused quite a divide amongst some horror fans. When people went to see it in theaters, some people stormed out in frustration, some people threw up, and others absolutely loved it. So next time we're going to be talking about 2016's Terrifier.
What if that guy did this to your car?
What guy? The clown? You really think someone slashed my tires?
Well, he knows this is your car. He saw us getting into it earlier.
Hey, handsome!
Cut it out.
My friend wants your number.
Kill you.
What is it, Tara?
Dawn and I are sort of stranded. She has a flat tire and no spare, and I was kind of hoping you could pick us up. Wrong with you?
What, did you think he was gonna hack me up into little pieces or something?
Until next time, have a good one.
All the best.
This program is a proud part of the Swear2Pod Network.